Hi everybody, I'm Aaron Runt. If you watched my last video, we went over how to create an Op2 verification simulation on our Vericut software. What we're doing today is part number 3. So if you haven't watched 2, go check it out and you'll be caught up with what we're doing right now. So let's get started. So what we have here is our Op1 location with our material in our jaws. So the first thing I want to do is hit play. And we're going to run through this whole simulation because I have to get the save cut stock. So I need a cut stock of my finished Op1. So I sped this up really fast, got everything I need. Now I'm simply going to go save cut stock. I'm going to go put it in my tutorial so that way I can grab it for the next one, but I'm going to call it part 3. And then it will convert it as a .vtc, which is what it needs to be. And if you want, you can put a space there. I'll hit save. That is all we need from our Op1 verification program. Now I'm going to come up here. We're going to make a new one. So we're going to open up a project. I don't want to save anything here, so I'm going to hit ignore all changes. And then I'm going to go into my template that I've made because this just has the vise. But when I open this next template, you see that I have a machine simulation built in here. First thing I want to do is I want to go into my fixture, I want to go into my stock, and I want to bring in that Op1 cut stock. So I'll come down here to component, I'm going to hit add model, model file, I'll go into that tutorial and I'll grab it. What's really neat is it brought in that file and it put it in the exact same location that it was on the vise. So if you look, there's a little bit of a gap here. We'll work on that here in just a second. But what I'm going to have to do is I have to flip this over to cut Op2. So to get an idea of what that looks like, my Op2 will have this to the left and that hole will be in that location right there. So that's where my XY0 is going to be. My Z0 is going to be the top of my part, and we'll see that in my program. So here comes the hardest part of doing what we're going to do. We're going to select our material and we're going to rotate it to that orientation and then position it. So I'm going to go to rotate by 90 degrees and I'm going to rotate around Y. And if you look, it's kind of hard, it kind of goes all over the place, but you can see the orientation is correct. I have my cut right here, I have my hole in that location. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move it into position. So I'm going to look at my program first. So my program says that I need to vise on 550 thousandths max. Well, it does tell me to use 1 inch 250 thousandths parallels, and it says that it needs to stick out 1 inch 300 thousandths from the left. And it does have my tool list right here. So we're going to make all that happen right now. So I'll minimize that in case I need to come back to it. I'm going to start by assembling my model in the correct location. So we're going to go to align first. I will select a line. I'm going to click the left side of my part. I'm going to click the left side of my vise. Now, to get a little bit closer to see if I'm going the right direction, I'm going to go ahead and go into mate. I'm going to select the bottom of the vise. And then I'm going to come over here and zoom up real close to make sure I get the right area. And that's where my parallels are going to be sitting, is right up on here. So I click that. Of course, it disappears. I'm going to zoom out. And you see that is now flush. But I want to be up 1 inch 250 thousandths. So I'm going to type in 1 inch 250. I'm going to hit enter. You see that it did push me up where I needed to be. Now let's come back over to here. I'm going to go minus 1.3, see if it goes the right direction when I hit enter. So it looks like it went the other way, so I'm going to type that in as a positive. You can see that it does go minus 1 inch 300 thousandths out of the left. And the last thing I have to do is, even though it's close, there's still a little bit of a gap right there. So on my last piece, now remember, don't click anywhere, or else you have to go into your aligning again. So I'm going to go click one more time. I want the face of my jaw, okay, the fixed jaw, not the moving jaw, to be flush with that. Just like that, I have it all centered with where I want it to go. Now I'm going to click off of it, and I need to bring this vise flush with the material. So I'm going to go into my Kirk vise, the moving jaw only. I'm going to click on assemble, and we're going to go to mate. And I'm going to mate the front of my jaw. You can see that it goes there. If you need to, you can zoom up with the face of my part. And then I will click off of it. And just like that, we have done the hardest part of this entire thing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a coordinate system, which we know is the top of the part and the center of the hole. So I'm going to go into my add new CSIS. And in the last video, I had 4 holes to pick. Well, in this one, it's pretty easy. And I'm going to use the same method. So I'm going to go to circle center. It says to pick the XY plane of the circle. Now it's in this plane right here, which is the top of the part. I will click one time, and now it tells me to pick the center of right here. So pick cylindrical face. I click it, and just like that, I am positioned correctly and at the top of my part. Now I have already built the tools for this, so I'll be able to import those real quickly. Now this CSIS says CSIS 1. Now my program might not be using CSIS 1, it's going to be using a work offset. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my program. We're going to add it. And it's in my downloads because I've already downloaded it. And I'm going to open it up. Now in here you can see that I'm using G55. So if you put G54, your simulation's not going to work correctly. So we'll exit that. Now we know we have to right click and rename capital G 55 and hit enter. Now I have to give it a work offset, so I want G55. This is what the program is going to be reading, and it's going to read from the G55 location. I will scroll down and I will hit add. This is the hardest part, I'm telling you. So I'm going to double click on my mill tools. Now I'm going to go to open file. You'll see that I have those tools already developed, so I'll hit open. You'll see that I have my tool 8, my tool 12, which is my 3/4 tool, and I will hit exit. And then after that, I have everything set up. I've located it, orientated it, set my zeros. We'll slow it down just a little bit, and then we will simply hit play. So once I hit play right here, you'll see that it's going to come through. It's going to cut a lot of that part away. And then when it comes around, this piece obviously is not connected, but my chamfer tool will hit it because in the simulation it thinks it is still there. So not to worry, it will come through and cut all this. And just like that, I have set up my Op2 program so that I can see it run on my Op1 cut stock. Again, my name is Aaron Ruck. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next part.